in to the Monday M.A.S.S live on my Insta. I'm going to have Ben Ferguson on the line here in about 5 minutes, and we are going to talk about Ben shitting his pants on top of an 80-foot cliff yesterday at Natural Selection. That is how we do it. People answer my phone calls. They do not answer Chris's phone calls. Are we recording? We are now recording. We are doing the Monday M.A.S.S. Today is March 7th.
Todd's had
20.
I can tell Todd's had a lot of coffee.
2023, the day after snowboarding changed.
What?
That's what I'm calling it.
Oh my gosh.
Day after Natural Selection Revelstoke. Hold on.
So like is BNS and ANS before Natural Selection,
yes,
after Natural Selection.
ANS. The
This is the
U
Monday
is
M.A.S.S.
silent.
Did you already say this is the Monday M.A.S.S, the world's greatest action sports podcast, and also an action sports podcast about nothing?
Yeah.
You did?
You can handle that. Today it's
this
a
podcast. When
fuck.
are you calling
Can
Ben?
we? I'm gonna call him right after we do the ad block. So let me do it
Oh
because
my
you're gonna
God.
fucking
You're
blow
gonna
it.
blow it. You're so combative today.
I'm excited. I'm really revved up from yesterday. Yesterday was a real rev up of a day. Okay, here we go. Ad block.
Go ahead, Todd.
The Monday M.A.S.S is proudly brought to you by Mountain High at Mountain High Snow. You can't get there yet, but when you do, it's going to be freaking awesome.
Powder?
Just snow, on snow, on snow, and the road's still fucking closed.
Okay.
At K2.snowboarding, K2 Snowboards. You can use that at Mountain High if you could possibly get to any of the local resorts in Southern California. It's been 2 weeks. Maybe buy another shovel.
Maybe we'll talk about the access and snow news.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. I just gotta interject.
She always
I gotta bother you about a couple
you just
things.
Screw up the ad block. At Pedal.electric.
We've got them.
We've got them. They work great. That's all I have to say about that.
They're great.
Bachan's Japanese barbecue sauce at Try Bachan's. Have you tried the new lid, Chris?
Dude, I tried the new lid last night on some chicken drumsticks.
It's freaking liddy, dude. You can get so much sauce
it's a great experience.
on your meat. What?
It's a great
At
experience.
Herschel Supply Co. Herschel Supply. Backpacks, bags, gloves, you name it, they've got it for your travel needs. Put
He's right.
something in a bag and bring it with you with a Herschel logo on it. Beneath Apparel at BN3TH Apparel. You would have been changing your Beneath Apparel yesterday had you been sitting on top of any of the terrain that was on offer at Natural Selection. I
still
also
wearing it.
would be... Do you ever change your clothes? At Bubs Naturals. Bubs Naturals, collagen, and other healthy
MCT
stuff.
brain oil.
MCT brain oil.
Yeah.
Yep.
Todd's informed.
Yeah, I'm
on our
informed.
sponsors.
At Pannikin Coffee and Tea.
He knows about this one.
I had mad caffeine before I came in here.
Can you tell everybody?
At Pannikin I'm just trying to get through
Dude
this,
is on
dude.
fire.
We have a guest on hold, basically.
On hold.
As far as I'm concerned.
He's still on a cliff. He's waiting at the top of a mountain.
At New Greens. New Greens is back. Chris?
We're going to New Greens.
We're going back to New Greens because they've just released a tidbit of information. New Greens was on a year hiatus to reformulate, repackage, and relaunch
Going greener?
the greatest powdered vegetable substitute the world has ever seen. I don't fucking know. I'm just making shit up as I go along. I can't believe these people actually give us money
the
to do
fans
this.
like Todd's ad blocks. The advertisers do not like Todd's ad
They
blocks.
are not fans.
I don't know. Keep going.
Okay, here we go. Hansen Surfboards. At Hansen Surfboards, it's not too late to get snowboard gear because God knows this season is going to go for flipping
I think it's
ever.
the best time because it's on sale now.
It is on sale. Hot sales are happening right now. Hansen Surfboards, you can go to Hansen Surfboards online or into the store and be physical.
In the store. Physicality.
At diecutstickers.com. They just gave me some sick stickers that go underneath every stop sign that you have in your neighborhood that say saying frontside Indy. They should go under stop signs. They're going to be great.
Yield?
But yield
to a frontside Indy.
All right, here we go. I'm going to call our first guest. We're going to start off with snowboard news brought to you by what's your passcode?
000 0
All right.
0.
Chris is officially the easiest phone to break into on the planet. Okay,
What
here
are
we
you
go.
gonna find in there?
Snowboard News is brought to you by at K2 Snowboarding, and we are going to talk to Ben Ferguson. Please answer your phone, Ferg.
Dude, after all that,
I know. This is all a big rush job.
is he still on the mountain or?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Ferg, it's Richards.
And
Chris
Come on,
Coté.
I'm here too.
All right, sorry.
Hi, Ben. I'm here
we're
too.
really excited. We're really excited to talk to you. First and foremost, where are you? Are you still in Revelstoke right now?
Yes, we're in Revelstoke.
All right.
And it's Bluebird Day.
Is it a better day than yesterday?
It's a better day than yesterday, maybe.
All right. Well, let's talk.
Honestly, it
What?
didn't matter either way for yesterday. It was kind of just a north-facing slope anyway.
Let's dive right into this because the people are dying to know. Ben Ferguson drops in right after Travis Rice, kicks off the event, and finds himself on Shit Your Pants Cliff. Can you please elaborate what I want you to talk us through leaving the start gate and ending up on top of that insane face?
Well, I was kind of going for it, you know? Like, I was trying to ride that piece.
Where the cliff was?
Yeah, I figured, like, if you're going to go against Travis, you kind of got to, like, try to out-Travis.
Right. Which is
So I was trying to out-Rick the Rick. I was trying to go for a heavy one.
I mean,
I was like 10 feet to the right, and I needed to be on that other little pillow behind that other tree to enter that thing the right way. And then the first time I was posted up,
so
down to where I wanted to be, but it was just not the like smoothest entrance.
so your line,
looking
the line that you really wanted to do was more of like a drop down onto that shelf and then drop off that shelf. You didn't like that was on purpose. You didn't just like find yourself on top of that insane cliff by accident.
Yeah, I was putting myself there for sure.
Well, you're a fucking psychopath. I'm gonna give you that right
It was
now.
a lot of studying. Like, we didn't really have that much time, but we had like some photos and some videos. Yeah, it was like planned.
Sort of
Against
planned.
fucking Travis Rice, I had to do like it was either go for the craziest shit you can do or just like do a mellow run and probably get beat, you know?
Oh, we know. I mean, it's that was your matchup with Travis's was probably my most anticipated matchup of the day because you guys both have this crazy ability to read terrain far better than normal human beings. So
Yeah, man, the way that dude enters like blind zones with the confidence he has is insane, man.
yeah, it's kind of next level as far as being situationally aware of what's happening. So like let's go back a couple days when you guys first get the map out of this zone. I mean, it looks a lot mellower because we were watching it on the broadcast. We would see like the far away angle, and then we would see the drone angle of you guys coming up on stuff that you didn't know was coming. So it was like. It was this crazy, like everyone kind of was being butt puckered for you. You know what I mean? Like we could see the terrain coming at you before you guys could see it.
And they're just like, where the hell is this idiot going?
There was a couple times where we were like, initially when we were seeing you kind of roll up on that cliff face, we weren't sure if you knew that was that was coming up on you. We thought maybe you got kind of like lost in the woods a little bit and just ended up on it and then
I mean, dude, I was basically lost in the woods.
right.
But like that is where I wanted to go. But going into it, I'm like, fuck, everything looks the same. These trees all look the same. This is crazy. I think that's my tree. I think that's my pillow entrance. And then I got up on it and I'm like, okay, this is not it. This thing's too wide. I need to be like 10 feet to the left.
I think
Around the other tree.
the funny thing was is like we were saying it on the broadcast, like when people kind of started to head into that zone, there's got to be some moments where people are like, am I following Ben's fucking track from second run here? Like you know what I mean?
Like, one track. Like, I really hope this wasn't where fucking Ferguson went. Idiot.
Well, I'm not calling you an idiot, dude. I'm just saying like it was just one of those things that kind of showed the scale of what this version of natural selection was. This is so different than what we had at Jackson. So, so different than even Alaska because this terrain was you could legitimately just fall off a 60-footer here no problem.
So
Like it was a technical face.
Yeah.
most, I
Everything
think,
looked the same. Everything was blind. There was stuff to kill yourself on
Yeah.
everywhere.
I think most like normal people that go snowboarding's greatest fear is to somehow accidentally find yourself caught on top of a cliff. When I was watching your run and a lot of other people's run, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, that's where I would have to get rescued by ski patrol. How how scared are you as you're dropping in, and what do you do to get over that fear, if you have any, and get to the bottom of this damn hill?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it fear though. I think these guys are
I'd be
pretty
scared.
pretty on point. I mean, yeah, like so
Just adrenaline.
yeah.
It's like anything you do that you're nervous to do, but you do it and you like lace it. That's like why it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
That's the adrenaline.
And so run number 2 when you went back up there, were you just trying to do a different line or were you trying to put yourself back upon that same thing but with a better entrance than you had the first time?
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to like, I knew that I'd went like 10 feet too far to the right on that entrance, and I knew exactly where I needed to go after that
Mhm.
because I had that old track. So I was just trying to like get onto the good part of that, that panel, and then be able to ride it smooth. But I just like ended up going a little too deep, like a little too close to the edge, and
Dude, I can't even
like had like there was also like we got photos and stuff, but that thing looked smooth from all the photos. Like it looked like it was just like a panel, but it ended up being like a really pillowy, and there's these big runnels in there that like you couldn't see,
Yep.
and there was like this big crack through that panel, and I like made it onto the first part of the panel, and then I had to like jump across the crack, and then the crack just kind of caught me. And if I would have went in the crack, I maybe would not have made it out.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, it's legit death-defying snowboarding. And then, okay, so you did your 2 runs. Travis moved on. So now you're at the bottom, watching the rest of the day's festivities. I mean, dude, it was a bummer to not. I mean, obviously someone has to lose in the matchups, and it was a bummer to lose Craven to Rice. But like those 2 guys seem to be on a different planet as far as being able to read the pillows, the big, large Marge pillows that were up there.
Yeah, if you like talk about like if you say Dustin Craven in snowboarding, you know that he's like Kootenai King, like pillow guy.
Yep.
Like that's the kind of terrain that like he's known for. You watch a Craven part and you see some of the most like technical pillow zones that you'll ever see. And then Ricky's Ricky, like
Yeah.
he's right up there, just as experienced, if not more. And then the way he like goes into terrain with so much confidence, like that second run or the first run in finals that Travis pulled, that pillow line and watching that was like so impressive. The way he dove into that thing, like full on, no hesitation,
Yeah, he didn't
full on
stop.
control, just like committed 100%. It was like really impressive.
Yeah,
That kind of sealed the deal. After that, it was like, okay, yeah, that's Travis Rice. Like
it was
that's
pretty.
why he's the guy.
It was pretty funny to watch like Blake's reaction to that up in the start gate for his second run. Just like, okay, well,
The hell
I'm
are we
gonna go
doing?
back over here and hit some jumps.
Yeah. I mean, I think most of us would have been like, okay, what the fuck do I do now?
Right.
You
Well,
know,
some of us
that was pretty
wouldn't even
crazy.
have. I would have been in the car sucking my thumb. So just before I let you go, but just sum up your experience out there. In a paragraph or two here. What's your big sum up of this?
I mean, yeah, like really, really, like really nervous, lots of nerves, just a fucking ball of nervous energy. Um, some of the best snow, though. Like we had amazing snow, amazing conditions. Um, the contest pushes you in a direction that you probably wouldn't go. Like it kind of, if not for that, like maybe you wouldn't go as hard, and it makes things happen. Like it's really cool that it like works out
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, as far as being a spectator and actually being a part of the broadcast, it was the most gripped I've ever been watching anybody snowboard ever, and
That's awesome.
also the most fun. And huge high five to every single human being that went down that course. The ladies, all you guys. It was fucking nuts. So, thank you for providing
That's it.
entertainment. Yeah, it was awesome. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
What's your deal now? Are you up in Revelstoke until Friday, and then you guys are out of there, or are you bouncing?
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna stick around today. Super sunny. We're gonna teach Raibu Katayama how to snowmobile today,
Oh, that should be
and then I
fun.
think we're gonna do a little. I think we got some helicopter time, so we might go flying around, try to film some stuff.
Sweet. All right, Ben. Thank you. I will see you at Peace Park, if not sooner. And heck yeah, dude.
Sounds good. Thanks, Todd.
See you, buddy.
Appreciate it.
See you, man.
Soon.
See ya.
Later, bro. Peace.
Ben Ferg,
Now
ladies
give
and
us some
gentlemen.
context as to why you called Ben Ferguson.
Okay, well, I called Ben Ferguson because yesterday, as you may or may not know, I was fortunately tapped to do the natural selection broadcast. Within Travis Rice was up against Ben Ferguson in the first heat of the entire event. Travis coming in as the champion, elected to go first, which was like, it, I think a lot of the riders were thankful and also really nervous that Travis elected to go first.
Yeah.
But it's freaking Trav, dude. He bookended this entire event. He was the first one to go and the last one to go. But what ended up happening is, Travis rolled into this line, and no one really knew what to expect. You couldn't. We knew that the face was really gnarly in seeing the images that we, the broadcast, and the people that were watching saw, but it wasn't until the drone angle happened, where you were following these guys in, and the drone would pull out, and you would see what the riders were coming up on. So
Yeah.
Travis dropped in, did this run, gnarly, right? The run was gnarly, like, holy crap, this is legit. And then Ben dropped into his run, and right in the center of the guts of this course is like a step down to like solid 60 footer, maybe even bigger. I'm
rock
just
face.
rock
cliff.
face cliff, and I mean 60 feet maybe. It was 60 feet to not a good landing. So you were meteoring out of the sky, just into the bottom, if like Wile E. Coyote shit, if you didn't make it. And we're watching from this pulled back view of Ferg just working his way towards this cliff, and
You're
we're
trying
all.
to yell at him through the screen.
It's pretty
No,
much,
don't
dude.
go
And we were
that
just like,
way.
what the fuck? Like, this event is so, like, coming from Dew Tour like a week ago, where we're like talking about people doing switchy, shuffly shoes on the rails, into like just straight gnarboarding. Like, it's really cool to see that, but this is the kind of snowboarding that takes your breath away. It's like, and it comes out of Travis Rice's head, dude. Like, he picked this face, and nothing was small. Everything was like let's say like you're like a street comp dude, and you roll in and find out everything is at mega ramp size,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, we're gonna find our way down this. But I called Ben because he handled a situation that would have had most normal humans just yelling at the drone, being like, I need ropes, like, get me out of here, because it didn't really look like he had an exit.
Oh yeah. That
Like-
was my first thought. Is like that's where you're rescued
Yeah.
by ski patrol or
Well,
whoever.
a normal human beings would have, like, that's an unstrap and hike out. And I've been cliffed out by stuff before, where you unstrap and you hike out because it's simply not worth it. But
That's
like,
terrifying.
it is the most terrifying thing, is to be like not knowing but kind of knowing.
Yeah.
Because Ferg can't really creep to the edge of the cliff and look over and see how big it is. All he's relying on is like this picture on his iPhone or a piece of paper that has the runs on it to kind of know where he is. And there's no sense of scale, because no one had ridden this course to kind of like go underneath stuff and be like, whoa, that's really big. Like, no one had any of that recon.
So there's a resort here, and this
This
is
is
next to it,
No, this is deeper. It's like, okay, so Revelstoke Mountain Resort is the main resort in
and that's
Rev-
a normal.
and
ski
that's a
resort.
normal ski
Okay.
resort. I mean, you can get into gnarly terrain there, but it's not like this was. You're in a helicopter for 20 minutes flying deep interior
Okay,
BC.
so it's way out there. What? So if we're talking this in comparison to surfing, skateboarding,
It's
are we
like
talking
it's
Chopo,
it's
Mega
Chopo,
Ramp?
it's Nazare.
Okay, so it's a big wave.
It's a
world
big
tour.
big wave event, but also with sections that allow you to
Do airs.
have performance and have airs. So, I mean, look, I'm just gonna I'm gonna stop talking about this because it's I highly suggest everyone go back and
I
watch.
can tell you're excited. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's just rad, dude. It's like the natural selection tour. The past few years, it's been Jackson Hole, Baldface, man-made features, right? Like you're dealing with like basically jumps. It's like a slope style
More
event,
normal-ish.
kind like
But still gnarly.
still big, but normal-ish, like playful. This was taking that formula and just freaking HGH right in its ass, and all of a sudden you've got this face that you're like, holy crap, dude! Like, I can fucking die on
Yeah.
this, and we went through the day. Nobody got hurt. The women crushed it. All the men crushed it. But the standouts to me, obviously Blake Paul gets second. He's like just liquid going down any face. Unbelievable rider. But Dustin Craven and Travis Rice. Dustin Craven is an absolute beast when it comes to riding big step downy terrain on pillows to pillows. Like it's basically like Super Mario on steroids.
Right.
And then Travis, who Travis is on such another level with his ability to have depth perception of like what
That's his movie.
it's his movie. It's like what's coming at you, and he did such a great job. His last line, he didn't even have to really go that hard. His last line in the event, but he did, and Travis just shut the thing down. He brought home his event. Zoe Sadowski-Sinnott put on a clinic for the women. Also, big shout-outs to Elena Height, who picked some of the gnarlier lines. I think Zoe kind of took more of a freestyle-y or park riding route. Elena has been riding a lot of backcountry with Jeremy Jones, so she took a more I hate the word extreme, but more like intense, angled, scary terrain approach to it, and it was awesome, and it was fantastic, and the crew that we had that was working with us, Uncle Toad's was the production company with Rima and the crew, and they killed it, and it was an awesome event. The next one, now we move on and we go to Valdez, Alaska. So if that's like what we saw in Revelstoke,
That's step one.
that's step one. The finals are in AK. Like I don't know how you're gonna top.
2-stop tour.
Well, we had the duels, which was how we whittled it down to the final group that would be competing at Revelstoke,
Right.
and now we do another cut, and then the top of the top head on to Valdez.
Same thing. Helicopters. Nar boots.
Yes.
Men and women flying down mountains.
Yes, and with sizable terrain.
And no one had to be
of
rescued, or
consequence.
no one got hurt.
No, and also too, like they've got the best people on staff. Like they don't really mess around. They don't mess around.
I keep going back to the being scared part because I just watched it and I had to literally like take breaks
Mm-hmm.
because it was very intense. You can tell through the commentary, the visuals, and the best part, hearing the riders.
Yeah, it's the rider.
Like, oh shit! Oh no! Oh god! Like
Yeah.
they're grunting, and you like listening to them go down was something that I've never heard or seen. So that was
really cool, and I think that was the most evident like on Ben Ferguson's run where he ended up on that shelf and was just like, "Fuck,
yeah.
fuck, god
Yeah.
damn it!" Like you can kind of live through their emotions because they're telling you
Yeah.
what's happening. So it was
honesty.
it
right
was
there.
so insane. I'm still on like a high from getting a chance to do that.
You took the natural selection pill, and
I
it's
did,
still
dude.
pulsing through your veins. And you're all fired up.
I
and
got
love
I got a big shout out to Liam Griffin, who is the I guess he would be like the organizer behind this. I
Okay.
mean, he's the dude that is making this shit happen. Well, there's a lot of people, but Liam seems to be the one who carries this shit on his shoulders, and I don't know how the hell you did it because you had to bring this whole operation into the backcountry with no power. Everything's running on generators. We lost the broadcast for a few minutes yesterday because the satellite they were clicked into got eclipsed by the sun, lost the signal,
It happens.
had to find another
Yeah.
satellite, so we had to kind of fill for like 10 minutes or so during the broadcast. But like all in all, there were not many technical hiccups, and
It was sweet.
it was
It
sweet.
was sweet from my couch.
It was sweet from your couch. Okay, so moving on in snowboard news, I alluded to it in the sponsor plug. You still can, like, our local mountains here in Southern California to us, which is obviously Big Bear, Snow Summit, Mountain High. Like, these are like the typical resorts. Mount Baldy, you can get to Mount Baldy, but you still can't get up to the Big Bear Lakes region or up into Wrightwood, where
Why?
Mountain High is. The roads are still closed, and I think it's because the front way to get up to Big Bear right now. What's that road? I don't know, 18, 15, whatever it is. The windy road, the main road that everyone goes to, it's still not plowed. Still hasn't been
because
plowed.
there's just so much snow. Like you can't.
There's that. Well, first of all, they're trying to dig people out, but they're so afraid because there's been so much heating over the last week. Like the snow is really heated up, so the snow's getting heavy. So they're really afraid of sizable avalanches coming down when they're doing Caltrans work.
Because if the snow's like that and you cut it like that, this part's gonna come down on.
Maybe, but
I'm
also
no scientist.
you're no,
but
that's fucking true.
at least that's what I can.
Yeah. So, but I will say this though, I've seen some. If you have a home up there, or you have a way to get up to Snow Summit and Big Bear, I've seen the Westridge Park at Snow Summit right now is back on, like old school, back on.
Snowshoes.
You could snow.
What is this? Split board.
Yeah, you could just split board up the road
to Mountain High.
Anyway, they're
But they should
claiming
be open soon,
they're
right?
claiming the 16th. The
Well, that's not that
16th
soon.
is when they're going to have that road open.
That's
so
like a week, 2 weeks.
that's a week though. But think about it. You've had like a long. I mean, it's a long time between when that storm hit. That was last week. Okay, and also
It's sunny outside.
it is. You're all. Why can't you guys just open it? Also, the snow just doesn't stop falling. I know that there's a lot of people in Tahoe right now that are probably loving it, but also really freaking over it. They just got another 30 inches between Saturday and today. I-80 is closed once again. They're running out of gas. They are running out of food at the grocery stores. It's no joke. Like, if you don't have the proper tires on your car, stay the hell off of I-80. Like, I don't understand how it's not, like, how do you leave your home in either Reno or Sacramento in a Prius with all seasons?
What about
or
a Honda Odyssey though?
a Honda Odyssey with all season like, how do you like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, yeah, it snowed like 40 inches and we've had like 10 feet over the last week, but I should be totally fine
I think people put a
in
lot
my
of trust in
pre-runner.
Caltrans.
I should be good in my pre-runner. No four-wheel drive, but man, I got these mud tires.
I don't think everyone is as knowledgeable as you are, Todd.
No,
I
it's
will say my
this is
neighbor,
common
though,
sense.
My neighbor Eves, I was walking by. He was packing his car with snow gear, and he said, "You can tell Todd, I know what's up." Pointing down to his tires, they were snow tires,
Sweet.
and so you can. I guess you can have snow tires in Encinitas.
Look, powder's freaking awesome. Everyone loves powder. Just be smart getting there and be smart while you're in it, and everything will
Right.
be cool. So that was snowboard news.
It's like that movie Frozen, but a horror version,
Right.
where Elsa just like dumped all over the town, and everyone's gonna like Donner party each other.
The cold never bothered me anyway, Chris. Okay, go ahead. What else do we have? Do you have anything?
I don't know.
Bunch of.
I don't even know what you've been saying.
Are
For
we
the
done?
last hour.
Are we done with this podcast?
Sorry if you couldn't hear Ben very well. Todd's still learning how to use
What are you
his
talking
phone
about?
and a microphone.
Did you guys hear Ben?
We'll
Put
see.
put it in the comments if you couldn't hear Ben. They could totally hear
Look,
Ben.
you can take constructive criticism, Todd.
You can take it and shove it up your ass.
Well, you can learn how to use a microphone
All right.
after all these years.
Surf News is brought to you by Hansen Surfboards. We're going to move on to Surf News.
Portugal starting today. Today there. I don't know about here. The first day is the 8th. Today's the 7th. So it's different in Portugal.
Yeah,
It's a
but
different time
not by
zone.
month. I mean, it's like
It
still
could
a
be
day.
starting. There's a bunch of stuff happening there. We'll kind of let that thing unfold before the news happens. Last week we had Sterling Spencer call on, leave us a special message about his documentary. Are You Serious?
It's
I got down to
really
watch it. Did you watch it?
awesome. Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so
Sterling
good.
Spencer, Dave Malcolm, the crew, I was thinking of words to kind of describe charming, informative, funny, heartfelt.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, like Sterling is such a like a disarming
Yeah.
human. You know what I mean? Like his vibe is really pretty light and airy and fun, and he just wants to joke around. But like what he was like revealing
Yeah.
is like
Heavy.
he's like he's the funniest guy ever. But if you kind of feel all of a sudden behind the scenes, this dude was like a traumatic brain injury basically put him in a state of perpetual wanting to commit suicide for
And-
like a long time. So
and,
it's
and interesting too because he got hit by his board on like a 2-foot day in Florida. So it was something that can literally happen to anyone surfing. You know, the board hit him in the back of the head, and then it was a downward spiral from there. But really cool to see not only the traumatic brain injury kind of part of that story, but also the parts that kind of show what Sterling was doing way before anyone else was doing. On YouTube, the vlogging, and obviously the comedy that he put together was way ahead of its time. So it's nice to be able to kind of see all of that in a package.
yeah.
So congratulations, boys.
Yeah,
Sterling and Dave.
go
you
watch
killed it.
go watch Sterling Spencer's his documentary on his journey from his traumatic brain injury to where he is now.
Yeah,
it's an
on Stab.
inspiring tale.
I think it's on Stab. Might be on Stab Premium. Either way, you should all be signed up for Stab Premium at this point. It's great. And speaking of Stab, Zeke Lau had a great interview on Stab, basically talking about all the controversial calls that he's been part of, and there has been a lot. And it was really nice. It was refreshing to kind of hear both sides, right? Because I think a lot of times, if whenever like big controversy in surfing, which could be an interference, could be, you know, kicking your board at someone, and I think Zeke obviously owns up to the things that he did wrong, but I think for him, you know, getting attacked on message boards and just like bad press and all that, I think a lot of us just kind of thought of Zeke as like, oh, he wants to be kind of like the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be the
Well, we
you
do.
know-
We this is something that I think is missing even from all the like when we were coming up. There was always like that dude.
yeah,
You know that dude who was kind of like the instigator, like, and it almost made you like
respect him.
respect, but also like gave you someone to either root against or root for.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like it was just a personality, like kind of like the pro wrestling formula.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
And I
you
think-
have like
yeah.
who's the Undertaker? That's Zeke Lau.
I think
right?
Zeke, yeah, I think part of him, I think, leans into that, which is cool. But obviously, he's human, and so you know, it's just nice to see the other side. You know, how people in that position are affected by social media, you know, by fans and all that. So I think it's cool, and I think that it to me, it kind of like leveled him out. Right now, he can have a fresh start. He didn't have a great start to the year. 2 interferences back to back at Pipe and Sunset. So I think it'll give some of us reason to root for Zeke Lau, which I think he totally deserves. Check out that interview. What else we got? We got some homies getting paid.
Yeah, this is crazy.
So Todd,
the
you
way.
were part of St. Archer
Yes.
early on.
Yep.
And this is kind of a similar deal. You've got
No,
Balter Brewing.
this is a much
This is in
this is
Australia.
a much bigger deal.
This is a much bigger, still similar deal. So
Now who
Josh Kerr, B. Durbridge, Joel Parkinson, Mick Fanning, among others, went in on a beer brand in Australia called Balter Brewing. You know, cool packaging. I'm sure it tastes great. I know Australians love beer.
Mhm.
And they were, I would say, a little bit later to the whole craft beer, kind of like indie beer movement that we saw here. And they're doing well with it. $20 million.
No,
$200 million.
$200
So
million.
that's a zero.
$200 million.
$200 million. And however much they split that up, they're doing well.
Yeah.
And so I guess that kind of
Kersey double dipped too. He was
Kersey
in,
double
he was in on St. Archer and did Balter.
yeah.
So he's double dipped his beer windfall.
I missed out on all of these things, but I'm in now. I did invest. I don't have money to invest, but I invested, cobbled together something for a brand called Ration Ale,
Hmm.
the NA beer brand. And I think I've showed you, and I have some for you in my car
Sick.
if you indulge.
Is it kind of like
I'm hoping
drinking decaffeinated coffee?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it tastes amazing. I love it. It scratches the itch. Rationale. Hey, we're the next Balter. I'm going to be the next Be Durbridge. Maybe. So some people are doing well. Other people's, their paychecks got cut.
Okay,
a little
what is
short.
this hype news you've got here?
This is not hype news. I'm just
de-hype.
I was feeling kind of lazy today, so I just copied and pasted a bunch of shit from Stab Magazine. But it's all pertinent. Julian Wilson and Matthias Hardy have been dropped by Red Bull. Colo dropped by Oakley, and I hate to just that's like the negative part.
That's crazy to think of Julian Wilson without the bull on the tip of his board.
Matthias Hardy to me that's the crazier one because he's kind of
OG
future world title guy, whereas Julian is more of the Kersey speed. Obviously he's still one of the best surfers on the planet.
People
in
are,
his next part of his career.
Does that mean that the net is tightening here?
No,
at the
because
bull?
this is the good thing. So in taking those guys off the team, now they're allowed to, or they've freed up cap space. Sierra Kerr, Katie Simmers, Molly Picklum, and Sky Brown are all on Team Red Bull now.
Wow.
Or I don't know if it's a replacement or whatever, but I will take those 4 over those 2. That's just me. Chloe Andino.
Was Chloe Andino head to toe Oakley? Was he Oakley
No.
wetsuit? Okay.
No. I don't even know if that the rest of that isn't that pertinent. But in other news, we've talked about sharks. We've talked about other things that can attack you. In snowboarding, there's pigs attacking people and bears and cougars and
cliffs.
Surfers are dealing with shit as well. A guy in Australia paddling back out and he turns around and there's a seal messing with him.
Okay.
The seal apparently just started getting more and more pissed and bit his leash and somehow while thrashing around ripped his leash so hard that his board went back. As he's underwater, he hears a crack. He thinks he broke his board, but it was the opposite. The board hit his shin and broke his shin in half. So a seal used the board as kind of like a slingshot, whipped it back into the dude, broke his shin in half.
Wow.
And it was a big guy. And so...
Fucking seals, dude.
Gnarly. And
I don't know how Heidi Klum was married to one.
Well,
for so
if you
long.
ever want to get by, you got to just get a little crazy. In other animal attack news, this is from Beach Grit.
Is this a new thing? This is a new segment? When animals attack?
When animals attack action sports athletes.
Shout out stingrays.
Orcas and sharks are enemies.
Are they, though?
Orcas are on top of the food chain. Sharks are second. There's been
Says
new
who?
discoveries.
Jacques Cousteau?
Scientists.
Oh, okay.
Because here's an example. Do you know how an orca kills and eats a shark? Todd?
Right, bites their liver out.
Well, it's more gruesome than you may think.
How?
So what they do is, first of all, they stun them, bash them,
right?
Charge them, do whatever, and then they grab their pectoral fin. Is that this one? Yeah.
Yeah.
They grab the pectoral fin, and they start whipping the shark around until they peel all the skin off of the shark. And scientists have said it sounds like Velcro being peeled underwater. And
I'm down with orcas, but you have to remember that because you see all these like the video footage of them
the
like
seals.
Well,
orca with the seals.
You know when the orca's like behind the boat and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Because there's a lot of orcas.
Yeah, not if you're
just
wakeboarding.
off of the coast here in the Pacific Ocean. I mean, obviously up north in and around Washington and Oregon, but here, and they're always like in the behind a boat, like playing in the wake.
I got it.
But
Would you rather?
Oh,
Would you rather?
I'm not down with like a hyper intelligent animal.
No,
that's
you're on a
60
fishing
feet long.
trip with your friends, because I know you're a big fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
You're a couple miles off. You fall off the boat. The boat doesn't know you fell off. and you're out in the open ocean, would you rather deal with an orca
Yes.
or a great white shark?
Orca.
Orca.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm with you because like I've been
You
to
can
SeaWorld enough times.
You
to
can
know
reason what you just start apologizing for SeaWorld straight away. Like, I'm sorry.
I watched this documentary where this orca was in captivity, made friends with this kid. The kid noticed the orca's fin
Oh.
was bent like that
Yeah, Free
in
Willy.
captivity.
Gotta love that.
That's a great doc.
That's a documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
California Appeals Court has ruled that Palos Verdes estates may be liable under the state's new Coastal Act for turning a blind eye to localism. The Lunada Bay boys are in trouble again.
Are they though?
I don't know.
What does that even mean?
I've never been there. Nor do I care to go there.
We just passed the anniversary of when that woman randomly said to the press that COVID was spread through breaking waves. Remember when they shut the beaches down because of some ding dong from Scripps? That
No.
Yeah. Remember that? Remember that woman who like basically said like, you couldn't pay me $1 million to go near the ocean right now.
Because surfers were coughing into the water.
Yeah, because surfers were
peeing in
peeing
it.
and coughing, and then they closed the beaches down for
I forgot
God.
about that.
Remember how fucking crazy that shit was? Because we're like right around like I
It
was.
was all, it was,
You know, like Facebook reminds you of all the stupid shit you've posted in the past.
humans.
Well, it reminded me today that like 3 years ago, I posted a stack of toilet paper
Yeah.
and saying "fuck Bitcoin." We're now using shitcoin.
I think mistakes were made.
Yeah, there were some slight mistakes that were
But,
made.
You know, we're moving forward.
Yeah, yeah. I
What
guess.
else? Yeah, surf news. Like I said, Portugal may be starting tomorrow, so it's not going to be natural selection, but it should be pretty cool because Super Tubes.
You know,
is
it's
sweet.
Here's something very interesting. Also, beach grit, love them or hate them. I tend to love anyone that takes the time to write funny things these days.
Love them sometimes, yeah.
They wrote a really good article about how the WSL could learn from what natural selection brought into
Yeah.
the space.
But Beach Grit could also learn a little bit of tact in their headlines.
I think you need to just let them exist.
I agree that.
Stop trying to shut down beach grit.
Shut up. I sent Chaz my new song. He said he was going to share it. He didn't share it.
Yeah. So now you
I
just
sent
want
him a shirt.
you just want to shut down beach grit.
I think if Chaz shares
Shad?
my shirt and my song, it's all about me.
All right,
basically.
skate news is brought to you by Beneath Apparel,
Beneath
BN3TH. Tampa Pro went down, and oh my goodness.
I've got a message from Paul Zitzer, one of the commentators at Tampa Pro. He says, quote, Tampa Pro is great. Yuto and Giovanni and Jocelyn all had winning runs. Judges had to pick one.
Yuto won.
Andy Anderson was the crowd favorite times 1,000,000. And that's saying something because this is a crowd of hardcore skateboarders, skate fans.
Look, Andy Anderson does the craziest shit.
He's so fun to watch.
He's really fun to watch, and he embodies what skating was when we all started. Is just fuck you. I'm
Yeah.
doing what I want to do, and you guys can all eat it.
Really fun to watch. I love Tampa Pro, Tampa Am. It's just a different type of skate event.
The cement park in the back. Now
Oh, yeah.
this is my favorite part of Tampa Pro
mayhem.
because I can relate to it. I'm a transition skater. I'm not down with flat bars.
You don't like a straight course?
I got one move on a flat bar.
Heel flip?
I got a heel flip something, whatever. Probably do a frontside air on a fucking quarter pipe, whatever. At any rate, Tom Shar put on an absolute demo with that the tranny to pop out to ledge, floating ledge.
The best trick events of both the indoor and outdoor part of Tampa Pro are just so gnarly.
Mm-hmm. Don't sleep on Tom Shar. He's kind of
I've heard of him. He's
been
around for
he's
about
kind of
a
been
decade.
out of the spotlight,
Yeah.
I would say, but looks like Tom Shar is back.
I think Tom Shar was built for events like Vans Park Series, the Coastal Carnage events, these big kind of deep bowl
Yeah.
events, just like outdoors at Tampa Pro.
Bring back Vans Park Series, please.
Return my calls.
What else went down?
There's a new foundation video out called Whippersnappers, and there's just something so right and righteous about the classic foundation logo. the moon and the star.
Like old school foundation.
Yeah, it feels like there's a resurgence.
Like
Men, women, boys, and girls
the
on
F.
that team just ripping. Love it.
Pre Frank Harada. Like we're talking Todd Swank.
Frank Garcia Harada.
Okay, whatever.
You can't leave out the Garcia.
He leaves out
will
the
be
Garcia.
offended. Later this year, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie's coming out.
Is this nerd news or is this skate news?
This is skate news
Okay.
because Seth Rogen, the producer of it, says, if you're wondering about, so he was on the Hawk vs. Wolves podcast and was basically saying the Turtles skate, they rip, and the soundtrack is going to be a kind of a throwback / shout out to the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtracks.
Very cool.
So
that's freaking rad.
That's some skate news. Some other skateboarding stuff happened. I'm gonna set up a new board.
Are you really?
That's big skate news.
I'm not. My skateboard is just. I don't even.
Can you come back out?
I'm not even looking at it.
Come on
right
out.
now. I'm not looking at it
Come
right
out.
now. I'm going snowboarding.
Come out.
I'm into snowboarding now.
Pull up on me.
Nerd News is brought to you by Bachan's Japanese barbecue sauce
Tight.
with the new nozzle.
And I will say, so I've learned something about Bachan's.
What's up?
This is nerd news, permission to speak freely, right?
Teenage Mutant Ninja
I've
Turtles.
learned with Bachan's,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell.
You
right?
put, okay, so I got chicken legs in the air fryer. So now I think to get the best out of the Bachan's, I don't coat the chicken before I put it in there. I put it in there for about 12 minutes.
You marinate the chicken.
And then I put the Bachan's on, and then it crisps up for the last couple of
You're
minutes.
supposed to marinate it.
No, no. If you marinate in Bachan's and put it in the air fryer, it burns.
It really?
Yeah. So you've got to put it on. Oh my God, it's so good. 'Cause
Thanks,
if you crisp
Martha
up the
Stewart.
Bachan's, just like crispy skin Bachan's, it's
Okay.
amazing.
I believe you.
Nerd
news.
we bid farewell to San Diego's best dual genre restaurant. They
I
tore
know.
Chinatown down.
Yeah, they're gonna put a try restaurant in there. French, Chinese, and Italian.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And what's it called?
It's going to be called
Le Chinatown.
Late Chinatown. Hey. Anyways, this is stupidity.
There's some new shows on
nerd
television
news.
back.
What are you watching?
F1 Drive to Survive. I watched the first episode.
Did you like it?
Last night. I liked it. Action packed. Even though you know how it ends, it's just a nice watch. Mandalorian. I watched first episode. What are we doing? What are we gonna do here?
I don't know.
Because it's good, but it's kind of just the same. thing.
Mandalorian news right now. I can't go back to silly Star Wars. Like we went. I mean, did you watch Andor?
I didn't watch it.
Okay, so Andor. Look, I watched Andor. Was a huge fan. Last of Us, huge fan. Now,
That's not
I mean,
Star Wars.
it's not Star Wars, but it's got me in that mindset of like.
You're kind of serious now.
I'm like a serious guy now.
He's like, he's more into cinema and dramatic shows.
I like
comedy.
I like consequences. I want to like you're not really gonna see real consequential death in the Mandalorian.
How the hell
It's
are
so,
they
it's,
gonna wrap up The Last of Us?
Chris.
How because there's
Chris,
one episode left
there
and there's
is.
so much
You're not gonna like
open
it.
space.
You're not gonna like it.
Don't tell me.
I'm not gonna tell you. But look, there's a
lot to unpack.
there's a whole.
Is it a 1 hour, 2 hour episode?
I don't know how long it is. It is a lot to unpack in one episode, and I'm sure they're skimming over a lot of stuff that is part of the lore and the story. But we have this whole like second and third season that they've already planned out that's going to cover the in between of the first and the second game,
good.
and then the second game, and that's when shit.
But we gotta wait all summer.
I'll tell you this though, all summer probably gonna have to wait like 3 years the way this shit goes these days.
They gotta just start filming.
Bella Ramsey,
Yeah.
she's incredible.
Oh,
I think she's incredible.
Obvious.
And she's done an amazing job portraying Ellie's personality in The Last of Us. I don't know how because there's a big time jump between the first and the second.
She's like a
game.
grown up later.
Yeah, I think she's like 18 or 19, and so she's 14 in this. So there's a solid time jump, and a lot happens developmentally between a 14-year-old girl and a 19-year-old girl.
Not with her though. I think she's
I don't
pretty
know.
fully
I don't-
developed. She
I-
just hacked some
Just
dude up.
careful.
I know, no spoilers.
But hey, I'm just saying,
I got a question.
it's going to be really hard to replace Bella.
They might not have
Ramsey.
to. They can do makeup. Have you ever seen
They're going to age her.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button?
Yes.
If they can do that in reverse, they could do Bella like 2 years. So my question for you:
Mm-hmm.
when they're unfolding the paper, what are they eating? Beef jerky?
Yeah, it's beef jerky.
Simple.
It's the last of their beef jerky.
The last of
Beef jerky.
them.
What else?
Make or Break
What is that?
has dropped all the rest of their episodes.
I don't even know what that is.
Apple Plus, World Surf League,
Oh, that
behind the scenes.
is there.
Chris Coté's voice featured heavily.
It doesn't.
We've talked
It
about
doesn't
this.
have several of the ingredients that I need to keep
Episode
my
7 is very
entertainment.
Coté heavy. So
Oh yeah.
turn it up, celebrate it. Hopefully the neighbors will call and be like, "Is Chris Coté over there yelling about surfing again?"
And once again,
That's what we want.
did you get paid?
Who? Uncredited.
Uncredited and unpaid.
Well,
Wow, what is this?
technically paid.
Are you running charity over here? Oh, because you signed the contract.
Apple Plus is a org.org.
Oh yeah, is
Yeah.
that how they are?
Yeah.
Okay, so you
Me,
you're basically getting the
Jennifer
shaft.
Aniston, everyone else. we just do it because we love it.
Okay.
I'm changing, Todd.
Into what?
I don't know. I'm changing into the type of person that watches Joe Rogan shorts
What's the
on
difference?
YouTube.
What's the difference between Joe Rogan shorts and Joe Rogan longs?
I think Joe Rogan shorts are kind of like the drug that the drug dealer gives you for free to get you in, because what I've been seeing is fascinating, and I've always thought of myself as not a Joe Rogan person, but I'm kind of going in.
Okay. Hey, fair
You
enough.
been in?
I
What do you
listen.
think of those shorts?
I
the 10 minutes?
I don't know the snippets because I listen to the longs.
Oh, you go long.
Yeah, I've listened to.
You're like a Joe Rogan guy.
I look.
You should do a podcast.
When I drive, I like to fill up my drive with people just talking, and Joe Rogan happens to fit that. Even if you don't personally agree with what Joe Rogan represents, I could give a shit less. It's just
Yeah.
someone, you either take it or you leave it. But he does have some pretty fascinating interviews. I will tell you this, though, and I was talking about this. I got to figure out what the name of the podcast was. Did I talk about this already? About
the Hydron.
the
Collider.
Hadron Collider. Did I
Yeah.
talk about it on the podcast?
Yeah,
Okay.
multiple times.
Never mind. I'm still like tripping on that.
Yeah.
CERN, CERN is the company.
Are you
Uh,
certain
Anyways,
that's the name?
we're all gonna die because
I watched
governments are trying to make a black hole to make infinite energy, and we're all gonna die.
my.
I'm not worried about anything else. Climate change, not worried.
You're not.
I'm more worried about
Yeah.
the black hole they're trying to make.
Check out Willie D from Ghetto Boys on Joe Rogan.
Okay, solid.
We're gonna like eat elk,
All right, so
shoot arrows.
there's a lot of questions this week. Why don't we go ahead and start in on
All
the
right.
questions?
Got some here.
We're going to answer your questions. If you have any questions in the live right now, I will also answer those questions because I can't get out the questions that are in my phone because I'm doing the live. So if you have
Okay.
questions, drop your questions right now in the live. There's only 27 people watching this bullshit, so you guys
Okay, here we go.
potentially answer all your questions. Go ahead, Chris.
Um,
I'm waiting. We're all waiting.
I got it now. Okay, here we go. Mason Butner.
What does he say? What's Mason
Might
have?
be too late, but curious to hear Todd's thoughts on Travis Rice's win over Dustin Craven. I thought Dustin should have won that match. Did the judges get it wrong?
Okay, so I had a long conversation this morning about this.
Yeah, on
actually,
this podcast. you
No, I
Oh, a
talked
different one.
talked about this with Chris Rasman,
did.
who's
A different Chris.
Chris Rasman from Canada, part of the Man Boys, incredibly good snowboarder.
'Kay.
And pretty much most of Canada is up in arms that the win was given to Travis over Dustin. And
Oh.
I can see both sides of the story, but
There's a
also
sticker for that.
the judges had to weigh into whether or not, well, Dustin kind of stopped on top of that pillow stack. Travis carried his line through.
Speed, power, flow.
Speed, power, flow. I mean, look, I even said it yesterday in the broadcast. I'm like, yeah, some questionable judging on a couple of the calls, and I was really referring to the Craven call over Rice. Maybe
Did the right person win?
the right person won the event because, well, here's the thing. I
Rice
would have
person?
loved to have seen Dustin Craven up against Rice in the final, and I feel like the head-to-head is cool, but also best of 2 runs over the whole thing could clear this whole thing up. You know, and you whittle it down. Maybe you do
Like a leaderboard.
Maybe you do the duels to get to the top 4, right? Because they have top 4 go, anyways, and then the finals is top 2. But you just have the top 4, and those 4 people go down twice, and then you can have like this, you can be pitting these people against each other,
Right.
which is like I hate the way that the head-to-head format you eliminate some of the best talent in the
'Cause
event
you want to see
straight
more.
away.
You know, I
You
think
want
that
more, yeah.
I think a leaderboard style event structure, the Eddie backdoor shootout,
But
Ben's event.
head-to-head, it
It's
has
cool.
a place,
I think you could do head to head, but if the second place person in the head to head still has a higher score
Ooh, that's
than
an
these
interesting,
other head to heads,
interesting call on that one.
there's like, let's say you take, if it's 8 people, if it's 8 head to head heats, you have a top 8, and then you've got 2 more of the highest finishing second
I see, and that's how you get
placers.
your top 4 to compete against each
Dude.
other. Okay,
Hey,
I'm following you.
we'll run your event.
What else do you have for questions?
Hannah Lee said, what is the skateboarding equivalent of what Chopo is for surfing in Alaska is for snowboarding?
What's the equivalent of Chopo
Mega
event?
ramp, I would think. Maybe Elliot Sloan's house.
Fucking Swamp Fest.
Swamp Fest. That's way different. That's its own thing. John Veter says the Freeride World Challenger is making its inaugural debut in Whistler this weekend. This is the contest for those who didn't qualify for the rest of the F1. So what is the Freeride World Tour?
So Freeride World Tour it's quote unquote, it used to be called the Extremes, and it's more of an extreme comp, which is like this weird thing because what natural selection did is I don't know, like how do you even compare these two? These two live in the same. I mean, the terrain that we saw at Revelstoke is probably going to shit on the terrain that they have for their Freeride Tour this weekend.
But it doesn't have to be as much of a spectacle. It can still be something that
No, it's
is
still
gnarly.
It's still cool, and it's still cool.
And
but
who will be in it?
It's a different style of riding. I have no idea.
All right,
I have
well,
no
we're gonna
idea.
have to watch
I
it.
can only follow so much shit.
Thanks, John. Zachary Holson something says, "Hey Todd, would you rather co-host broadcasting the natural selection with Snowboard Jesus or eat Panda Express before your next flight?"
Wow. I think, honestly, I think it would be really funny to co-host with Snowboard Jesus.
Yeah. So you're no longer gonna eat Panda.
Look, I don't want to go back to my Panda Express experience
Yeah,
last week. I don't want to relive that.
fair. I will celebrate Panda Express before my next flight. Mark Pags wants to know, Natty Select questions. Did Dusty get dusted in the semis? Did anyone catch the score on the screen of the women's final after the feed cut out? It looked like the scores didn't reflect the results. Ooh, conspiracies.
No, okay, so the big question about when the women's feed went down, we had that crazy sunspot that kind of blocked out the satellite at the bottom half of Zoe's run. We got the intel because the judges still had a feed, and Zoe's run was nothing happened. The right person won in that final.
As long as the right.
Yeah, the right person won. I think had Elena stomped that, I think it was like a double or a triple stack into that chute where she kind of almost ran into a bush at like 1,000 miles an hour. Had she landed that, I think it would have been a lot tighter. Because you're contrasting a lot of these riders too. You're contrasting these crazy styles against each other. Like Elena Height is more back country, like billy goating around lines that are really scary and you can't see. And obviously Zoe is just chucking switchback 12s in the park these days. So it's like you've got these two riders that are looking for two completely different things to play to their strengths.
Right.
Unfortunately for Elena, she didn't put the board under her feet as much as she probably could have. But, Elena Hite could easily go to the World Freeride Tour and just mop up this weekend.
Fair. Brad Massey time says, I got another music question for you. What is the weirdest live show you have ever seen? I'm going to say the weirdest live show I've ever seen is Mortis at Brick by Brick with the Johnson brothers. They weren't playing. They were who I was with at the show. Mortis at Brick by Brick. YouTube Mortis at Brick by Brick, and you'll see why this was, in fact, the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Enjoyable, weird.
Weirdest show that I ever saw was Guar in Denver.
Guar in Denver.
I saw Guar in Denver a long-ass time ago, and I came out of there. It was like a winter night.
Were you wet?
I came out wet and just covered in corn syrup blood because we were like really close
That's weird.
to the stage.
Yeah.
And it was like, when you're just like super uncomfortable. It was like going to like a Gallagher show. Like,
right.
It's like
you had like
I was
watermelon exploded
fucking
onto you.
covered in fake guts and just corn syrup. It was in my hair.
That's nice.
And I just got to like sit in the back of someone's car. You're like cold all the way back to Boulder where we were living at the time. It was
all guard up.
I was all guard out.
Eric Hamilton says, "Is another should that run have gone to Dustin instead of Travis? If they didn't give it to Travis, we may have never seen such an incredibly fearless
Right,
run
and
again."
that's
It's
another thing.
subjective.
It's subjective, but I think that there's a lot to that statement. Is we wouldn't have seen that fucking hell line by Travis at the end.
Hella line.
I mean, I don't, the person that was riding the best won the comp. That's how I can say it. I mean, the matchups are crazy. It was we were really confused about a couple of the scores. There was another score where Big Air Jer kind of
Who's Big Air Jer?
Jared Elson took out Blake Paul in one of the scores, but Blake, the next
Right.
score kind of took him out. That was
Nothing
there was
glaring though. Nothing like
but I mean, there's a lot of people that will argue that Craven's score was blatantly like a holy shit moment.
we do have a sticker for that. What does the sticker say?
Cry is free,
Hard to say it when it's two of your friends involved, huh?
I guess, but I don't know. It's
Are you
just
telling all of Canada that Cry is free?
no. I'm saying that I'm
Okay, I'm just
I'm
trying to-
holding your back, dude.
Me back?
I'm holding you back. I love Craven, and he is a magnificent specimen, and I wish that we would have seen a Craven versus Rice head to head so we can watch the most fucked up snowboarding on that terrain that we've ever seen.
I'm just glad everybody had a good time.
Shut the fuck up with that. Pick a
McGill's
side.
Skate Shop is reopening in a brand new location, and this is big news because
Oh yeah, this is
it's
huge.
the 35th anniversary of McGill's Skate Shop. We're gonna have Tony Hawk, Lance Mountain, Hosoi, Staub, Caballero, Elliot Sloan, Rodney Mullen, Jimmy Wilkins, and of course Mr. Mike McGill. They'll all be there 3 to 5:30 on Saturday, March 18th. It's right up the street.
It's gonna be I mean,
Where I
that's
got my first skateboard.
that's huge.
Not the new location, obviously.
But that's gonna be really cool. So if you
It used to
have,
be a block away, did you know?
I know, this is right over there.
And then it was over there.
If you can fulfill your Bones Brigade fantasy.
Fill your bones, Stoke.
All right. Well,
What do you got coming up? Are you gonna be here next week?
I'm gonna go snowboarding. Well, you and I, we have to go snowboarding this week for that thing.
But the roads are closed.
Not to Baldy.
What? I don't have a shovel, dude.
You need a
We
shovel,
talked
dude.
about this last time.
Thursday.
Every time I go up there, the whole crew is like unpacking snowshoes and sticking them in their backpack.
Don't
and they have
worry.
lasers and things.
It hasn't snowed in
like,
weeks. We'll be fine. I'm not gonna.
backpacks with airbags, and I don't have anything, and I'm the worst one of the group.
We're gonna go.
I don't want to.
We have to go snowboarding this week. We're gonna go there. It's supposed to be warm. It'll be wonderful. That's it for this episode. Big thanks to Ben Ferg for calling in. If you are just joining us right now, you can go back.
Just joining us.
Well, there's people that are just joining right now.
They're like, "What's going on in here?"
Oh my God, what are you doing?
Party's over.
We interviewed Ben Ferguson about his butt puckering moment on top of the cliff earlier in this live. So go back, rewatch the live. High fives to everybody. Go and watch the Natural Selection Tour that we did yesterday. It was fucking awesome.
What is
we
that?
Shut the God, you're so fucking annoying. I'll see you guys next week.
Hey,
Hey,
hey guys.
we're done here.